So following just a quick overview of the couple changes that we've made to the mapping, as well as adding some more infrastructure, more data. So what you see here is we do have the map file that you gave us, and so this is the pipeline simple, which is just pretty much all the pipeline. I'm just going to take that off, and then or we can look at the pipeline projects since October, and then take a look at that particular file and come in here and click through and get an understanding of the different pipelines and the links and so on and so forth to that particular project. So anybody can come in, take a closer look at these, and drill down onto the information in more detail. So I'm just going to pull this one off, and I'll just put the pipeline simple on there. What I also did is I've added the now the capability where we're monitoring new pipeline licenses, and so just we use the account list view. So I'm in the accounts record and I go to the list views, and one thing I did here is I said, hey, let's just take a look at accounts with pipeline projects. So there's the project count and the total pipeline projects that's out there, and then ultimately roughly how many kilometers of pipeline they put in, so on and so forth. And then we can also look at another list view where you have your accounts with your projects, CCI projects, and then we can build that same association there. Big difference that you're going to see here when you look at TransCanada as your number one. Obviously, the pipeline stuff that we're getting from the AER is not showing up there on that side of it. Right now, pipeline's only AER. So one of the things I just show you kind of an example of what we're able to do here. So I can see Obsidian Energy at one time was one of your top 10 customers from a project perspective. Since 2016, haven't done many projects. But if I come back here and I take a look at total project count, total pipeline projects, we can see that they are still falling, in the top 5. So, here's kind of a customer that potentially offers some real opportunity for you to grow your sales. So now when I come over to the mapping side of it, one of the challenges we have right now is we've got multiple data sets, and we need to see all the data sets to kind of tell a story. So I've already set this up so we can only see information associated with Obsidian. And what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at all the facilities that they've had out there. I'm going to look at some gas plant stuff that they've been working on, and then I'm going to take a look at pipeline projects and wells drilled. And I said, hey, give me your projects, and because my date, I didn't go back far enough, no projects actually showed up on there. So we're going to drill down into this a little bit and come in here and kind of take a look at the geographic areas that they happen to be operating in, and I'll just zoom out just a little bit. So I can just come down here and I'll click these off, and I'll just leave the pipeline project stuff on there right now. So right now, here's the two key areas that in the last 120 days that they've been putting pipeline infrastructure into it. And when you come to a record, we can click on the record and see here is a 2.3 kilometer pipeline. I'll drill a little bit closer into this particular area here and take a look at this one, and then it's a 1 kilometer pipeline, 7 kilometer pipeline, and then another 1 kilometer pipeline. So we've got a 7 kilometer pipeline in there. What I can also take a look at is I'll say, okay, well, let's just take a look at the facility infrastructure associated around here, and I'm going to also look at the gas plant data as well. So we've got this opportunity here. They're putting in some new facilities. They've got some gas plants. They've got some pipeline infrastructure. But when we drill down a little bit closer into it, there's some water up top here, but they're not. Let's just take a look here now at the wells drilled as well. Everything seems to be south of that kind of water line. Not saying that that's still not an opportunity for us, but when we come down here, we start to take a look, and I'm just going to take out the wells drilled off so I can see it. we've got some facilities that they're potentially tying into, and these two facilities here, when we take a look at them, this is a very large pump station that they put in here recently, and then over here is just a bitumen battery on that side of it. So one thing they talk a lot about is their ability to, not a bitumen battery, sorry, it's an oil satellite battery. So they talk about areas that they are doing a lot of water flood, and they're putting some infrastructure in there. So we've got pump stations, we've got the Baptiste River, we've got pipelines on both pipeline projects on both sides. And I only have the from location on the license that we have. So we've got an indication of kind of where, some activity is related to this particular account. So now that kind of gives me, so when I look at it, I say, well, we're close to Rocky Mountain House, and then we're also just a little bit south of Drayton Valley on that side of it. When I look at the account record itself, Obsidian, one thing I'm able to do, I've added some extra contacts in there, and these are ones that we get from LinkedIn. And one of the things we can do is we have this mailing city, and then I can start to look at, well, who are some of the people that might be important for us to go out and build a relationship with. So when I look at Rocky Mountain House, I would say that LinkedIn-wise, so on and so forth, plant operators are probably not a bad person for us to look for. They're going to know if there's any some pipeline projects, those types of things. But we definitely have the facilities construction supervisor out of Rocky Mountain House, and his name is Darren Chartwood. So one of the things that we could consider down the road, here's Darren Chartwood, is getting your account managers connecting with this individual, and then to see if we can build some relationship with that particular individual, and also highlighting him as a high value individual that we want to focus on when we see activity in that particular area. So somebody that we want to be able to highlight on that side of it. When I come back and I look at your other records, we can also go in and look at the Drayton Valley side of it. And when we look at the Drayton Valley, again, we're looking for supervisors, we're looking for construction team lead facilities, construction. So we look at Kevin Henry. He happens to be the individual here in the Drayton Valley area. And then when we come back and we take a look at see if he happens to be inside constructions. So here we go, team lead facilities construction at Penn West. And then now there's an opportunity for us to go out and connect with him and see if there's an opportunity for us to build a relationship with this particular individual as well when we start seeing activity, be it pipeline or construction or facility activity in that particular area where we've gone in and we've highlighted. We've got the Baptiste River. This is a high value, high area where they're putting a fair amount of money and infrastructure in there. So now you can start to see that the story starts to come together. One of the challenges that we have is for me to draw that, I had to come in here and go to this particular filter and then put Obsidian in there and my filter, and go in here to the gas plant and then put in Obsidian, and then so on and so forth, pipeline projects, put Obsidian in there to create this picture for the individual, for somebody that is managing that particular account. And then, again, we also take a look at some of the project folders, or some of the stuff that we've done with regards to your group going in here and taking a look at where construction projects are, so on and so forth. When I go to users, I think we need to consider this and take a look at it and say, let's simplify it. I'm sure I can write some code. When I get an alert on Obsidian, I can click on the Obsidian record and then have it draw this particular map for me, so I can now come in here and take a look at information that I'm wanting to evaluate earlier, and then see if we can tie in some contact data. So to sum it up for you is that we've got the pipeline stuff, the NEB pipeline stuff you put in there. I now have the local pipeline stuff, and you'll be the only one that I'm putting that information in. I think there's a great opportunity for us to tie that together. I would say that we will need to do a little bit more work on it to make it easier for us to go in and identify those key areas, look at some of the contacts, and work through the process of how we're going to do a better job of communicating with the target contacts.